Well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in for another Tech Tips 411 session. Today I'm super excited to be talking about Chrome extensions. Welcome to the Chrome extension extravaganza. I'm kind of excited because this is the first time I've done a session exclusively on Chrome extensions. So let me know in the comments if you are like me and you are a Chrome extension addict. You have too many to name, so many favorites that help you level up your productivity, creativity, or just they're fun. Let me know in the comments about that. All right. So super excited to dive in. If this is your first time joining me, my name is Jennifer Hall, and I'm an educational technology specialist in Atlanta Public Schools, and I am super excited to share this session with you. It was one of the most popular ones that was voted by the teachers that I work with that they wanted this session. So that's what we're going to talk about is Chrome extensions. So if this is your first time here, thank you so much for joining. And if you're a return viewer, thank you so much. And if you're one of those folks watching from the future, thank you so much for tuning in. So our session goals today are that we're going to explore productivity Chrome extensions. So we're going to talk about ones that kind of level up your productivity, make life a little bit easier. We're going to talk about ones that help you with creativity. And then hopefully you're going to gain ideas for using those Chrome extensions for productivity and creativity. So I'm not just going to share the extension. Hopefully I'm going to give you an idea, a use case for these particular extensions. So again, if you're tuning in live or you're watching from the future, in the comments, let me know what is your favorite Chrome extension, or if you can't pick one, your top 3. Let me know if you are a Chrome extension addict like me. All right, so we're going to kick off here talking about productivity. So when we're talking about productivity, we're thinking about Chrome extensions that are going to make your life a little bit easier and make your workload a little bit less friction for work and things like that. So I would be remiss if I did not talk about the one extension that is so powerful that attaches to my absolute favorite tool, which is Google Keep. So if you are a Google Keep user and you're not using the Google Keep extension, I highly suggest that you use that, grab that extension so you can easily just click at the toolbar at the top to add links directly into Google Keep without having to go to Google Keep. So let me know in the comments if you're already using Google Keep but didn't know that there was an extension that will make it easier for you to add resources to your Keep. All right, let's see here. My friend Kelly, thank you so much for tuning in, Kelly. You love audio blogs. Audio blogs is pretty cool. It's a newer one to me, and for those that aren't familiar, audio blogs allows you to take a web page and click on audio blogs, and it grabs that and turns it into basically an audio podcast, so you can listen to it, but it saves it and you can listen to it later, which is pretty cool. Awesome. So Google Keep, that would be extension number 1 if you are a Google Keep user, so that you can maximize the use of Google Keep. If you're brand new to Google Keep and you've never used it, check out on my channel. I've got a how to use Google Keep tutorial that walks you through all the whys that you would want to use Google Keep. I use Google Keep on a daily basis to keep track of favorite tech tips. So I have a running list of like tips that I need to check out and ones that I might want to include in my upcoming weekly tech tip emails. I also use a Google Keep checklist for me to keep up with all of the steps. It's not just create the email. It's it's got a social media, put it in MailChimp, do all those different things. So I actually have a checklist in Google Keep that I use that to keep track of. But I like the fact that I can toggle between multiple accounts. So that Keep extension just makes it a one-click, ooh, I want to save this website, I want to save this image, boom, I'm going to add it quickly into my Google Keep. All right. So next up on the list for productivity, which is one that I shared out with a lot of teachers during the pandemic because of the struggle of only having one screen and the ability to be able to easily resize your tabs so that you can have, the main screen here and your smaller screen over here, and maybe the running chat for your students that would make it a little bit easier for teachers. So it's called Duelist. And what it does is it's one click. So if you have multiple tabs open, so if you're got Google Classroom open and you've got your Meet window open and you want to be able to quickly resize those windows, you can actually pick the layout that you want those to be. So as you can see over here, I can say, all right, I want this particular window configuration because I want a 3x7 or a 1x1. So you can easily do that. And a lot of my teachers really enjoyed using Duelist for that purpose. So if you have an extra monitor, it even comes in handy because you can really easily resize a lot of windows. But you can pick the configuration based on what you're doing, especially for virtual teaching or virtual presentations. You can easily click that window in Duelist and it will go grab those windows and configure them the way you want, which is really, really cool. So I'm taking a look at some of the other ones that are being shared out here. So Bitly, Confetti Cannon, and Clockify. Thank you for sharing those, Stacy. Those are some other good ones. And one of those on the list I'm going to talk about. I love my fellow Google guru. Jesse loves Google Keep. Yes, definitely one of my favorites. All right, so Duelist, if you're interested, check it out. It allows you to one-click resize your windows. All right. Next up is a tool called IRAD, and if you're not familiar with IRAD, it's a one-click option for you to make tutorials that are step-by-step screen grabs of what you're doing. So it's not a video tutorial tool. What it does is it grabs what you're doing and turns it into screenshots so that you can actually then add in context for explanations for students or your learners. So if you're a professional development person like me that has to do training for teachers, and it lives in that Chrome extension bar. So if you just need to do a quick little, hey, here's how you get to this tool. Here's where the menu bar is. Here's this. It will actually grab those steps and you can actually customize that content as well. So if you wanted to maybe grab the steps and then maybe change it into another language because you've got language learners. But IRAD is a really powerful tool for creating those quick tutorials that are screenshots. So sometimes people are like, a video's too quick because they have to keep pausing things to see what's going on. The ability to be able to look at those different screenshots, it grabs exactly, oh, this is where you clicked here. This is where the mouse went here. You opened up this tab. So IRAD is a really powerful tool for creating tutorials, whether you're using it for your students or you're creating content for educators that you might support. Let me know if anyone's used IRAD. In the comments, let me know if you've used IRAD before. It's pretty cool. All right. This is probably one of my favorites, and this is the one that when I share it with teachers, they're mind blown by this, and that is Talk and Comment. And what this very powerful extension does is it gives you this nifty little microphone that lives on your canvas or on your screen, so in your browser window. And anytime you want to do any voice notes, you just click that microphone and it automatically records it. It lives in the cloud. You can copy that link and then paste it into anywhere you want to put it, and it's a hyperlink and it links to that audio file. So it's very user friendly, and it comes in handy for doing voice notes or instructions in Google Classroom. Now, it doesn't save it anywhere else that you can go back to it. It literally just records the audio, gives you a link, and that's it. Students know that you're using an audio link because it actually populates a little play button. So even for your littles, your younger students in elementary will go, oh, there's a little play button. I click there and I'm going to hear my teacher's instructions. So I have a lot of teachers that like this as a tool. Yep. I'm glad you agree with me, Jesse. Yeah, it's a must-have tool to support learners of any age. Exactly. Even your adult learners, you might need to give them some voice instructions. And what I have a lot of teachers do is they'll actually type up the instructions in Google Classroom. So that's in the instruction option. Stacy's going to check it out. Yes, please check it out. It is amazing. So I can type up my instructions and then record that voice note. So then now you've got extra support for your diverse learners. And it's super, super easy to use. Now, because it is a link to a file, you can actually, I've heard that you can put it in, most of my teachers using it in Google Classroom, but you could put it into slides and forms and other things, so you can have that voice note there for verbal instructions. So now that's a very simple version of being able to do voice notes, and really I recommend it for instructions. It doesn't have a time limit. It's as long as your internet connection doesn't go out. So like if you wanted to read a quick paragraph for students, you could do that and have that quick audio file that doesn't require any editing or anything, and you're not storing it in your drive and having to find it. But if you want a more robust version of being able to do voice notes and instructions for students, you might want to look at Mote. Mote enables voice notes as well for feedback, but this is actually going to live in a space that you can go back to those notes, and you can actually, with the upgraded version, you can have your students do voice commenting as well. So it lives in your Chrome browser as well as an extension that lets you do voice notes. And anywhere you leave that voice note, it's going to populate with the play button for Mote. So you can leave voice notes, your students can leave voice notes. Now that actually is a signed in, logged in account that's tracking those notes that you're doing, versus Talking Comment is, I'm just doing a voice note out in the cloud and copying that link. If you need to have a record of it, you want to have more flexibility, you might want to take a look at Mote. So let me know if anyone's used Mote. Again, it's a pretty cool tool if you want to have the flexibility of students and adults being able to leave voice notes for feedback. And there is a free and then freemium version of Mote, whereas the Talking Comment is completely free because you're not logging in. All right, good to see you, my friend. Can't wait to check out Talking Comment. It is super cool. Super cool. So technically you could even put the link into a email that you're sending out to people as well. Yeah, Mote is awesome and a single sign-on with Google. Exactly. So that, like I said, Talking Comment is you're not logged in, you're not remembering anything. Mote does allow you to log in and track those voice notes as well. So if you are a teacher working with special ed and you're trying to document that you're giving that extra support, you would have that, the ability to look at those recordings and so forth. Awesome. All right, let's keep it moving here. So this is another productivity tool that it's a newer one to me. I shared it out as for those that subscribe to my weekly Tech Tips 411 that I share during the school year, I always send out one Chrome extension each week. So I'm always digging and looking for new ones that I can share. And Text Blaze I thought was super cool for the functionality of teachers, especially. I see I got some friends here. Good to see you, my friends. Some more Mote lovers that have you love, not just love, but love Mote. Glad to hear we got some folks that love Mote. So Text Blaze is an extension that you can actually create shortcut comments. So think about on your phone if you've set it up so that when you type certain key combinations that it's going to fill in the rest of the information. That's what Text Blaze does. And so I'm thinking of it as from a teacher perspective, if you have common comments that you're going to put in either emails for communication or on student work or in Google Classroom, you can use Text Blaze to create these short form stuff. So here's an example that if I use the hash, the forward hash and TT411, it will automatically populate all of this information because you can even format it. So as you can see, it will, if I type that into an email, it will automatically pull up. There's my website link, my YouTube link, my app link, and all of that. And you can even hyperlink content and everything. So it does take work setting it up initially, but you could have those and you could do the hashes and have them be like Q1 for, or C1, comment 1, so that you know that that's what it's going to be, and it's going to put your automatic text in there. So Text Blaze is super powerful for that because, especially as a former ELA teacher, I was always writing a lot of the same kind of comments when it was talking about like structure of the writing and proofreading and things like that. And it would have been great for me to just be able to, let me just type in a couple of characters and boom, it's going to put all of that information in there. So you could even set it up for like, here's a resource. So based on what your students are working on, you could have a short text option that would automatically give that additional resource when you added it to their document or in an email response or something like that. So let me know, what do you think? Text Blaze, do you think that's something that you could maybe use with your students? I think it's a great way to make your workflow a little bit easier when it comes to providing feedback. So Text Blaze is another pretty cool productivity tool that you should check out. All right. The former ELA teacher in me loves this one. It's called Power Thesaurus. I've been trying to work on writing. I had to write a couple of blogs recently, and I was like, Jen, you got to mix up the vocabulary here. So Power Thesaurus lives right there in your Chrome browser. You can click on it and just type in a word. You're like, oh, I need a little extra help here. And it will provide you synonyms and antonyms without having to go to another window. So it's literally going to do this pop-up box right where you're writing. So if you're in a Google Doc, or you're writing in a Google Slides presentation or something, and you want to be able to have that accessible. So Power at the Source is pretty cool, because I think it would be a great option for students, because they need to understand that there's, overused words. This is a great tool to support them looking for new words and going, oh, okay, in context, this would work a little bit better. So that is Power Thesaurus. So do I have any avid writers that are tuning in right now? How many of you think, oh, that'd be pretty cool, because I should definitely, change up my writing, my word choice. As a former ELA teacher, I'm always like, come on, you can do better than that. There's way more words out there in the English language that you can use to level up your writing. All right. So definitely you should check out Power Thesaurus. Yes, such a great tool for writing, because it lives right there. So students, even your younger students, aren't going off into another web browser or anything like that. They're not opening another tab. It just lives right there, and they can do a quick search. And what I love is it will give you a bunch of options, and you can look and see which is the right option for the context of the writing or the audience that you're writing for. So definitely check out Power Thesaurus. All right, keeping it moving here. All right, we got to talk Screencastify. So this is probably one of the most popular tools that a lot of my teachers were using during the pandemic, because it lives right there in your browser. It's a Chrome extension that allows you to record your screen, record just your webcam, or you and your webcam and the screen, so that you can create tutorials for your students. And what's great about that is there's no software, there's no download required, and when you log in with your Google account, there is the free version, which allows you to record up to, I think it's 10 minutes, and it automatically links and saves into your Google Drive, which for teachers is great, because they're like, well, where do my recordings go? I don't have to go to another place for it. You can record it directly into your Google Drive, and then there's an integration for Google Classroom, and that's where my teachers were loving the fact that they could do a quick video instructions for their students, and they could walk them through a task, or they could walk them through a project idea or a brainstorming session. They could give them some ideas and say, all right, and easily drop that link into the Google Classroom. Oh yes, this is definitely, I see we got a fan right here. It's a fan of it for sure, definitely. So Screencastify does have the free version, and then they have there is an upgrade if you want to have some more flexibility. Look at this. There's my friend Jesse says Screencastify is my #1 go-to tool. Use it daily. I would imagine for sure, yes. I see, look at all these fans. Yes, Screencastify and Loom is super power tools. Yes. So Screencastify links to your Google Drive and then lets you link to Google Classroom. If you use Loom, which is a really powerful tool as well, it does not, those videos live in its own tool. So I didn't include that because there is an extension, but you can go to their website and look at, it does not save it like in your drive. So both of those are very powerful tools. And then there's another really cool, powerful screen recorder, which is called Recordcast. But that is not an extension. That is a website you go to with a robust video editor. But Screencastify, that one-click option, before the pandemic, I was working with one of my teachers who was like, I want to start recording my lessons. So we set it up. So we put up a webcam. So this was, again, all before the pandemic. He was apparently forward thinking and knew this was going to happen. We set it up with a webcam so he could get 2 different camera angles, record what was going on the screen, and have everything go into Screencastify so he could have his lessons easily available to share out with his students. So definitely check out Screencastify. If you want to know more about Screencastify, I would point out the fact that they have 2 courses that you can take that walk you through how to use it in the classroom. So there's the Screencastify Genius and the Screencastify Certified. Both of those are very, very powerful, both very engaging PD opportunities that let you see how to use it and use case scenarios. And thank you for that reminder that yes, if you want to upgrade, it's worth it because it has that one-click send to YouTube. So if you do not want to save it to just in your Google Drive and you want to go ahead and put it on your YouTube channel so that you can create a playlist and share it out with your students, you can do that. Oh, another good, yeah, that is a good extension. Awesome Screenshot. It does let you grab your whole screen all at once. It's a pretty powerful tool. Yeah, that's a good one. So Screencastify, freemium options give you some more flexibility and the ability to not have limited recording time and the ability to push it out to YouTube. All right, moving along here. This is a pretty cool tool option, and this is an extension that works with Google Slides. And what it does is when you click the button, it takes a Google Slides presentation and it actually maximizes it so you can present slides in full screen mode and still be able to edit it. So basically it pulls everything out and you can actually see the tools still, but you're in present mode, which then now makes it an interactive. So you can actually have that presentation up and then you can be using the tools and the shapes and adding images live to it. So then it becomes an interactive presentation. So I just thought it was kind of a cool thing that I came across during distance learning, that it allows teachers, again, to be able to get rid of this sidebar over here on the left, but you're going to see all of the tools. You'll see just the main slide one at a time, and you can see all of the tools so you can turn it into an interactive activity. All right. So again, with productivity, and this one's really geared for students. It's such a powerful option. I'm a big fan of Immersive Reader, and if you're not familiar with Immersive Reader, it is an amazingly powerful tool that levels the playing field for diverse learners because it's a read aloud tool, it's a translation tool, it's a visual Pictionary tool. It allows students to customize text so that they can have it the size they need it, the color they need it, if they have visual discrimination challenges. So Immersive Reader comes in the Edge browser, but there's an unofficial version. That's why it's the unofficial version works exactly the same in Google Chrome. So if you are a Google school that uses everything Google and you're using, especially on Chromebooks, and you want to have the ability for students to use the power of Immersive Reader, you can use this Immersive Reader for Chrome extension that allows you to use it literally looks exactly the same way. And for those that want to know a little geeky stuff, it's because both Google Chrome and Microsoft Edge are built on the same architecture, what they call Chromium. So basically there's the Microsoft branding and the Google branding of those different browsers. They function the same way. So there's actually extensions that will work on both. And so that's why this one will work on Google Chrome. So definitely check that out if you're working with diverse learners, language learners. Having the ability for students to use the power of Immersive Reader in Google Chrome is super awesome. All right, so those were my productivity tools. What did you think? Let me know in the comments. Were there any tools that I mentioned that you're excited to try, or were there ones that I should have mentioned? Let me know in the comments if there was a tool that I should have mentioned that you use to level up your productivity. All right, let's talk about some creativity extensions. So these are the ones that I use to get creative. So let me know, what are the ones you use to get creative? Is your favorite one? And I'm pretty sure everybody knows my absolute favorite Chrome extension to get creative is, of course, Bitmoji. My Genmoji leads a very exciting life. The ability for me to grab a Bitmoji, and now the custom option where you type in the text and it will create you a custom Bitmoji sticker, is a game changer. So I use Bitmoji every day, all day, and I have it logged in on all of my Chrome browsers, whether it's my work one, my home one, or whatnot, because Genmoji likes to go places. She leads a very exciting life. So Bitmoji is my absolute favorite one because it levels up presentations, it levels up content, and for sure. Let's see, Jesse says, of course, Bitmoji, yes, color picker and fancy text. There you go. Those are your favorite ones. Stacy's all about the Bitmoji as well. I mean, you knew that had to be the first one. But now the custom text option, where if you type in things, like if I type in Tech Tips 411, it will give me a custom sticker, which is super cool. So if you are not familiar with Bitmoji and you don't have the Chrome extension, check out on my channel. I have a link to a tutorial on how you get started using Bitmoji and creating your Bitmoji, and some cool tips and tricks for how you might want to do things like face swapping using Google Slides in the Bitmoji extension. All right, so our next one, look at that, the color picker. So My friend Jessie agrees with me. I use this one also on a daily basis because I am very, I admit I'm very obsessed with making sure that all of the colors match all of the things when I'm designing, especially when I'm designing my weekly Tech Tips 411 or anything on my website. I want to make sure that everything's matching, and I'm very cognizant of brand stuff and looking for hex colors. So if you didn't know, every single color has a hex color, which is a 6-digit color that's going to number that will tell you, all right, if I plug that in, it's going to give me that particular shade of blue or that particular shade of green. And so I use that on the daily basis when I'm trying to match logos or anything that I'm designing. So it lives up in the extension. The extension lives up in your Chrome bar, and you just click on it on any page that you're on, and it gives you a little hash mark, and then it will let you know this is the color you need. And what's great is you can use that inside of slides, of using slides, or inside of drawings. But you can also take that and type that color code in if you're using PowerPoint or using another design software. So it comes in handy if you're doing some high-level stuff in a photo editor and you want to know those hex colors. So definitely use that all the time. And I use it with my Bitmoji extension. So if I'm using a particular, yes, things should match. When I'm doing design stuff, especially if I pull up a Bitmoji that I like, I'll look at the color that's in it and be like, ooh, let me match the text to go with that. I think I have a decent eye on design. I try my best to have things look visually interesting, and I think that the color picker is a great way to do that. All right, so let's take a look at the next one, and that would be the extension for Unsplash. Unsplash is a great resource for free amazing photographs. It's actually a project created by photographers who just donate the photos. So they're free and fair use, completely copyright free, so that you can use them in presentations, you can use them in your videos, you can use them on your website. But having that extension allows you to quickly search for images if you're doing a design project and you're like, oh, I need to grab this and drop it in, and it's going to search Unsplash. So I love it for creativity because maybe you just need a really cool image based on the unit you're talking about and you want to do a quick search, and since it lives in that extension, you can grab it and then you can drop it into a doc, you can drop it into a slide deck, you can grab the URL and drop it into a website or a Google site. So if you're not using Unsplash, it's so cool. As a photographer, I actually just like looking at it and getting some inspiration and going, oh, I wish I'd have thought of taking a picture with that. So free, fair use options right there. Awesome. Next up, this is an extension called Web Paint, and this allows you actually to annotate on your screen. Very simple, easy to use tools. So you can type text on a screen, you can change the color, so you can annotate and draw and create a more engaging virtual lesson. Or if you were doing a tutorial and you wanted to be able to record your screen and actually use some other tools, including typing text on the screen. There's even a paint bucket and things like that. And it's very streamlined tool that you just click on it and that toolbar is going to live right there on your browser window, and then you can minimize it when you don't need it. But it also has some cool features where you actually can screenshot what you have just done with your annotation. So you don't have to go to another tool to grab those screenshots. So Web Paint is pretty cool. If you needed something where you wanted students to be able to annotate on a screen, whatever you're working on, this is a great extension for your students as well. Now, I will point out, if you allow the students to use it, if they're annotating on their own screen, that's one thing, but if they're annotating on a shared screen, just be mindful of that because our students like to be creative. All right. Okay, so those were my creativity ones that allow me to level up and get creative. Now, I just want to share a couple of fun ones. And a couple of people have already mentioned some of these, and so let's talk about the ones that are fun that just you can't help yourself but use it, and that would be to use the emoji keyboard. I see right here, Joy Pixels is another one. There's two different ones. This is the cool symbol one. I use that one, but I also have been using the Joy Pixel one a lot because it allows you to pop out the window and have it live on your screen while you're working. So I love to use emojis like in Google Classroom and Forms. because you can use it for bullet points, instructions, providing feedback. It's just great for visual vocabulary. Now, I know they've added in Google Classroom the ability to bold and italicize text, but I just think that emojis just really help to represent things. So when I do my Google Classrooms for training for teachers, I use different emojis to indicate, the clapper, which is the movie logo, for any kind of training video that's going to be in there. If it's a writing task, I'm going to use the paper and pencil emoji. If it's going to be a question, I'm going to use the big red question mark because it's going to stand out. So using the emoji extension is great. Now, some people are like, well, you don't have to use the extension because, yes, on Windows PC, there's so many, there's an option on Windows PC. If you hit the Windows key in the period, it's going to bring up the box to look for emojis. You can do the same thing. I think it's Command C or Command period on your Mac. But I like the fact that I can search and actually hit a bunch of emojis in a row, and then I've actually kind of got like the whole story, so to speak, and I can grab them all at one time. Thanks, my friend. I'm glad you got some inspiration, and can't wait to hear what tools you check out, what extensions. Emoji writing is a hit in middle school. Yes, exactly. So you can have students, that's a great way to engage students at the beginning of the year, is have them write their emoji story or do some goal setting with emojis. But I guess it's our visual vocabulary now. I mean, I don't think anyone text messages now without using emojis. And so I definitely would check out, if I were you, if you're not already using it, this cool symbol extension one, or the one by Joy Pixels is great as well. All right, moving along here. This is one that I shared out with teachers during virtual learning because this allowed students to see your cursor for virtual lessons, or if you're just doing a tutorial where you want and you're recording your screen. Now, we'll point out, since it works only on Chrome, it's not going to show up if you were recording your screen and it was something else. But the extension allows you to customize your cursor. And I have a lot of teachers, like my science teachers, that did all sorts of cool science logos, because you can pick the ones you want, and it's going to make it more visually interesting as students are watching online tutorials or during virtual lessons. So depending on what your school year looks like next year, maybe you're going to be recording some tutorials. Because you can do those custom cursors, it makes it easier for students to follow when you're clicking on things in a video. So custom cursor for Chrome is super cool. You can pick your colors. You might do a different one each day. I mean, I've seen some really neat ones that are based on it could be, if you're a literature teacher, you might pick, different things that relate to literature. If you're a science teacher, there's all different options there. So definitely check out the custom cursors. But I will again say that it only appears in a Chrome browser. It's not going to show up if you're using another application. All right, keeping it moving here. This is another one that's kind of fun, and that is the GIPHY extension. So the GIPHY extension lets you search for, by keywords, a GIF or GIF, depending on which you prefer. So you can add them to your presentations, and they just kind of level up presentations and kind of make them entertaining. And I see I've got another GIPHY fan here. It's just super fun to put some emoji and put some animated GIFs on there and have students, do a pulse check. How are you feeling? Can you relate? I have one of my new favorite ones for presentations I do now is on a scale of 1 to Friends, and it's actually 4 GIF images from the show Friends, and it's from exasperated Monica all the way to super excited Phoebe and Rachel. So it's just kind of a fun, engaging way to level up. And you can even find GIFs that are instructional that have show concepts. So keep that in mind. And a little special shout out, we're talking about extensions, but I want to point out that the news dropped this week, if you're a Wakelet user, that you now have a GIPHY integration. So you can add GIPHY animations into your Wakelet collections. So just a little bonus tip for my GIPHY fans and Wakelet users. And if you're not familiar with Wakelet, check on the channel. I've got some tutorials on Wakelet because it is a super powerful tool. So who doesn't want to add some animated GIFs to level up your presentations? They're just super fun. This is one that I found during the pandemic distance learning time, and this is a Popsicle Sticks random student picker. This is pretty cool because it allows you to create a list of names and have it right there in your Chrome browser. So it doesn't matter what tool you're using. So if you were doing a Nearpod lesson and then you wanted to call on students because you were face-to-face, or you were doing an activity and you just wanted to do a random call. I mean, I know that there's options like if you're using Google Classroom, you can use the mobile app, but it's nice that you can create you can actually, create your lists ahead of time and have multiple classes, and it just lives in your browser. So then it doesn't matter what computer you're on, because if I'm for me being an old school teacher back in the day, I'm going to age myself. How many of you all remember the old school cup with the popsicle sticks? That's why it's called the popsicle sticks random student picker. If you're younger, you might not know this unless in your class your teacher did this. You write every student's name on the popsicle stick and then put it in the cup and then pull the names. But I'd always be like, okay, where did I put that cup? And this is great. It's right here in the browser. I can just go back there and randomly pick students' names. So you might want to check it out. Just kind of fun way to level up randomly picking students for activities. Someone mentioned it earlier, and I would be remiss if I did not mention the confetti cannon. And just for this, and I know all the others I've been talking about them, but this one you've got to kind of see it in action. So the confetti cannon, this is Automagical right here. And there we go. Look at that. Super simple and easy. All it does is literally just throws confetti on your screen. But it's a great way for virtual celebrations to recognize what your students are doing, whether it's birthdays or you're just wanting to celebrate student success. And I think even with us going back face-to-face, that teachers having that and the ability to just hit the confetti cannon during a lesson to celebrate will be a lot of fun. That's all it is. Just click the button and you've got confetti on your screen. So I just think it's a ton of fun. I did a lot of online training during distance learning, and it was a way for me to celebrate with people that normally, you want to have some sort of way to recognize success. And so the confetti cannon is a great tool for that. All right. So this was 20 extensions. That's what I talked about. There's so many, many more I could have picked. So I'm going to drop this link in the chat here. I think it's going to let me grab it. If not, I'm going to, in the comments, give me a second here. So there are so many more. So if you are like me and you want to explore more options, and each of these links directly to the tools and add-ons. This also has some add-ons. I specifically just focused on extensions that live in your Chrome browser, but there are also a lot of add-ons that you can get for Google Forms or you can get for Google Slides. So you might want to take a look at that, but tons of other extensions you might want to explore. So did I mention your favorite extension today, or did I mention one that you're super excited to explore? I see here someone says they use the dice thrower. Very cool. And I'm going to agree with you, Jesse. Every day deserves confetti. Yes, yes, yes. So those are some additional extensions. I dropped the link in there for you to check out. All right. So our session goals for this time, and I know is pretty quick, was to explore productivity, Google Chrome extensions, creativity extensions, maybe gain some ideas for Chrome extensions to increase your productivity or your creativity. So let me know in the comments, did we accomplish our goals? Was this beneficial? Did you get an idea or two? If you have any questions or comments, please drop them in the comments below. I do my best to answer those comments and questions. I have one more session before I get to start vacation next week. At the end of the week. And so this is the final of the 8-part series, and it will be Google Workspace for Education project and lesson as lesson ideas. So if you're interested in getting some ideas for using that, let me know. Kelly, I'm glad that you found some new ones to try and introduce to your teachers. Awesome. Let me know what your teachers think. That'd be awesome. A couple other little points of interest you might be wanting to know. We do have some. I do have some other upcoming sessions. I will be presenting. If you're attending ISTE Live, I will be presenting at ISTE Live a session on using Wakelet for differentiated lessons. So if you are attending ISTE Live, I'd love for you to join me and tune in for that session. In addition to that, I am one of the featured presenters for the first ever Green Screen Summit, and it is all the gurus of green screen. And I think you would find it interesting if you're wanting to learn about green screen and video production and ways to level up your instruction. So I'm going to drop the link in that in case you want to check it out. Let's see here, my friend. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you so much. So I did just drop the link in the chat if you want to sign up for that summit. I'm super excited to be a part of that. In addition to that, there is more PD coming. Of course, look at my little video thing didn't even load. I had this really cool animation that was going to pop up and say it's coming. I will be taking a little summer vacation, and so I will be back to live streaming in July. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe so you're notified of those upcoming PDs. So love for you to check out resources at Tech Tips 411 if you're looking for any tech resources to engage your learners. And if you're not already signed up for my weekly Tech Tips 411, please, please, please join that list if that's something you're interested in. In addition to that, again, please subscribe. Definitely would love for you to subscribe to the Tech Tips 411 YouTube channel so that we can stay connected. Well, this has been so much fun. I enjoy doing these sessions. Last but not least, check out my mobile app. All of the links are available in the description of this video, and I do my best to answer your questions and comments as they come in. Please be sure to share those with me. So again, my next stream topic for my final one is coming up, and that's going to be project and lesson ideas for Google. So please tune in if that's something that would be of interest to you. So thank you so very much for watching. This has been tons of fun. For my friends that are watching from the future, thank you so very much for tuning in. I very much appreciate it. All right, have a good one.